Um, Welcome everyone. This is our first ever running virtual program, so we're super excited. I thought initially I'd start by telling you a little bit about myself. So I am a chiropractor. I've been with the Cleveland Clinic now for about 7 years and practicing 14 years in total. I actually also used to teach at the running room. So I've been a large part of the running community for a long time, and I've taught anywhere from Learn to Run to the half marathon programs. And I've found that it's just a really great way. Runners are all very communal, and it's always a really great experience. So the key with this is really about trying to get you to engage and love running and stay as injury-free as possible. And that's really kind of the goal from this. So when COVID-19 started, and it really started impacting us, and we started having to be quarantined, I started noticing that there were a lot of people outside looking for a way to get outside, looking for a way to be more active, and a lot of new runners started to emerge. And you can always tell that they're new because the running shoes kind of give it away. So I decided that the best way to help people would be to do something virtually so that they do it properly and that they can learn to love running as much as I do. If you start in a place where you start with the wrong shoes or you start with the wrong program, it's very easy to get injured, and it's very easy to not like running. So the key here is to take a little time, prioritize yourself, make sure that you stay engaged, get outside, and hopefully steer away some unwanted quarantine pounds. So with that, I'm going to, sorry, one too many. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a background. I'm not sure how many of you actually are familiar with the Cleveland Clinic. So I want to give you a background as to who we are. We are a non-for-profit organization that started in 1921 in the United States. We are now in Canada and have 2 locations, one downtown and one midtown. And a lot of the things that some of our patients ask us is, well, don't we need to have a membership to join? And the truth is that we actually have a lot of OHIP covered services that we offer to people in the general public. So no, you don't need to have a membership. One of the things that is the most interesting is that we have a sports medicine department, probably one of the largest in Canada. No referrals required to see one of our sports medicine physicians, and on site we have all of the imaging that we actually need. So we have ultrasound, we have x-ray. So it makes it a very efficient way for us to see our patients, and we're able to get to them quicker. We also have OHIP covered orthopedics and cardiology and our dermatology as well. So those are just some key things for you to know about us. So the program format's an important thing for you to understand. Thursdays from 12 to 12:30, we're going to be meeting here for 10 weeks. And over those 10 weeks, there's going to be a new topic covered every single week. There's going to be a weekly challenge based on what your goal is. So it's been divided into 3 different kind of pillars. For those of you doing a Learn to Run program, which is taking you from never running to running a 5K. And then there's a second pillar of people running maybe 5K and wanting to run a 10K, which is the 10K goal. And then a third pillar, which is going to be a half marathon goal. So those are for people who've already comfortably started to run 10K. So you need to look at each level and pick very properly which level you were interested in and which one you fit into. If you have any questions during the week, we're always here to help. I'll provide my email on the last page. So I'm always happy to answer an email. If you have any questions, concerns, or if anything else comes up, just feel free to email me. So why a virtual program? With the impact of COVID-19, many of us have taken up running as a way to stay active and keep our mental health in check. We want to make sure that you're going to be doing it safely and learn to run as much as we do. So that's our goal. So top tips to getting started. And a lot of this pertains to those of you who have never actually been runners before. So if any of you are quite old hat at this, some of this may not seem as appropriate, but let's get started. So the first thing is we need to get motivated. So you need to get jazzed about getting outside and starting running. You need to keep it regular. So anything with any new routine, when you start, keeping a regular program is important. So things that I find helpful, running at the same time every day, listening to motivating music. And then once it becomes a habit, the running starts to really feel easier. I find that like starting a running program is probably the hardest part. and get all of that negative chatter out of your head as to why you can't do this, because everybody can become a runner. And the other thing I find really helpful is rewarding yourself, because when your brain, when you reward yourself, your brain associates that exercise with immediate and healthy returns. So you can do something like a healthy smoothie at the end of your run. You can take a long bath. If you need any suggestions, just ask. We've got a full team that can give you some good, healthy options. So things you're going to need for this program. First of all, you're going to need some running shoes. Without running shoes, I don't think we're going to get that far. Megan Grantham is our chiropodist, and she's going to be doing a talk next week on what the most appropriate type of footwear will be for you. I think it's going to be an absolutely important talk for you to do. You're going to need a watch if you're doing a run walk, because you're going to need to monitor the amount of time that you're running and that you're walking. A heart rate monitor is super helpful. That way you can kind of know what area your heart is training in, whether it's cardiovascular or fat burning. And if you like to run with music, it does help you become a bit more engaged, and getting a really good beat is an important thing. So feel free to download your favorite playlists and get those set up prior to you starting the run. Footwear. This is the most important thing you're going to have to get. So you need to start by getting fitted for proper running shoes. Our friends over at Black Toe Running, I've already done a bit of legwork for you on this. They're doing virtual assessments. The link is included on the screen in front of you. And what they do is they will talk to you about what your footwear will be. They'll look at how you're walking, and they're going to set you up with really what would be the best footwear for you to get going. You really want to start this on the right foot, no pun intended. Next week, Megan Grantham will be speaking, as I said, about proper footwear. And really, if you're starting a running program, you're not going to notice that the shoes are wrong in the first 5 kilometers. This is really going to start to get to be a problem if you're in the wrong shoes when you're a little bit higher than 5K, closer to 10K. So really you want to start it in the right way. We don't want you to be getting injured and then ending up having to do virtual calls with us so that we can try to make you feel better and keep you running. So we'd rather you just start in the right place. Attire. So for those of you who aren't used to running, I thought that we would start just by what do you wear? Because running in cotton socks, for example, is going to lead to blisters. You really want to be dressed appropriately. And with these days, I don't think Mother Nature really knows what we're doing. So it could be snowing one day, or we could be dealing with rain. So the clothing closest to your skin should always wick away moisture. You don't want to be wearing cotton. Cotton stays wet and you're going to be very uncomfortable. A middle layer should be something that's going to be insulating, whether it's like warm or like an extra shirt, especially for today, it's not so nice out. And then the outer layer has got to be your wind resistance or your water protection. For those of you who run in the rain, it's not so fun when you're wet and cold. So I thought I'd give you some ideas about just different temperatures and what sort of things I wear. So if you're looking for a warm summer day, 26 to 32 degrees or hotter, you're looking at just like a general tank top, something that's breathable, something that's sweat wicking, and a light pair of shorts that are breezy. If it's 21 to 26 degrees, you're going to be looking for something that's like a short sleeve shirt, maybe some shorts, also quick wicking material. If you're looking for 15 to 21 or 10 to 15, you can start to get into some capris, something just a little bit longer in the leg, maybe a long sleeve tech shirt. Again, always moisture wicking. And then if it's like it was out yesterday or today, you're going to start to do some layering. So a light coat, like a light running jacket. Any of the stores online, like the Running Room or Mountain Equipment Co-op, they've got really great options. And the key is to be light and to be able to take something off if you need to when you're running. So you don't want to run with things that are bulky. You want to run with things that are light that you can tie around your waist if you need to take off a layer. So starting out. So running can be fun and very satisfying. If you're new to it, I want you to remember you need to take it slow. As with any new activity, it can come with some time to improve. And it takes a little bit of time to become proficient. When I first started running, I never thought of myself as a runner, and really starting out was really difficult for me. And you just have to break it down to setting very attainable goals and sticking with it. And if you're able to do that, you're going to really come to start to love running. It does get easier. In my experience, I found that after running for about 5 kilometers, you really start to kind of get over that hump and start to develop that love. And it really starts to become a lot easier. So things that you want to think about when you're just starting is you want to be able to carry out a conversation. You don't want to go out of the gate and run as fast as you can so that you're out of breath and you can't talk. It's going to lead to injuries. You're not going to enjoy it, and you're going to fall off this program really quickly. Certain beginner mistakes, always going out too hard and too fast. You don't want to go and tackle the biggest hill in your neighborhood. That's probably not going to end up well for you. And if you're struggling with aches and pains, identify them early, send me an email. There's a difference between getting out there and really starting to kind of feel like you're using your body or that you're being injured. And if an injury is started, it's gonna fester, especially as we continue to add different mileage to your week. Different principles of running. Rest and recovery are extremely important. And we've designed a program that incorporates rest because you're not going to be running every day. You also want to at least take a day off in between hard workouts. So we would never put 2 long runs together, and we'd also put 2 fast runs. We'd never put them together. I'm not going to have you do hill training all week. The level of training is always increased gradually with a running program. And I think that this is where a lot of people fall short. Runners typically should increase 10% per week, not more than that. And the common mistake for most people is they increase their mileage and their speed at the same time, which you cannot do. It's a really good way to get injured. So the way we've devised this plan is a way that we can increase your mileage safely, and we can get you to the goal of the distance, and we can work then on how fast you run that distance. The risk of injury, again, it increases with the intensity of the workout. The training log is what we're going to be providing you with every week. Going forward, you can kind of move into the different levels if you like, and we're going to learn very quickly what works and what doesn't work. So if you find that you go out for a run 3 days in a row and you're noticing that you're tight in your shins, that's a good thing to kind of let us know so that we can make modifications. So for those of you who haven't really run before, what should you expect as you start to run? You're going to probably feel some soreness in the beginning. I'm not going to lie, especially in the shins and calves as you're actually pushing yourself forward in a running motion, obviously, when you're on the sidewalk. But as you kind of keep with that routine, the soreness should start to go away. We call this a lot of just delayed onset muscle soreness. You're starting a new activity, you're moving in a new way. You are expected to feel something at the end of your run. If you feel acute pain and it continues and continues, you need to let me know, just so that we can look at why that might be possible. How fast should you be going? If you're able to run socially distantly with a partner, it's good to also pick somebody who runs at a similar pace as you. Don't pick somebody that you're going to actually be racing against. This is not a race. This is meant to go out and to be active and for you to really start to enjoy the process of running. It can be very challenging when you first start. You're probably going to notice that you're a little bit out of breath. As you keep going, this will change and become easier. And if you are lucky enough to have somebody to run with, you can also just try to talk with them. The talk test is what we call it, and it's a really good way for you to kind of understand if you're at the right place for your cardio. Often get this question, should you run on a treadmill or should you run outside? Treadmills are my alternative for when the weather is awful. I'm a little bit of a fair weather runner. So if you have access to a treadmill, it's a good option for you for running on those gloomy, wet days, but still wanting to get out and do something. There is a bit of a difference between running outside or on a treadmill. On a treadmill, you have a belt, and really you're just picking up your feet and making sure one goes in front of the other. And it really challenges your cardio a little bit. It's a way to stay at a very standard pace, whereas when you're outside, you're actually physically pushing yourself forward. So you're going to feel this more in your calves and in your glutes and in your shins. So there's a little bit of a difference between the two. So just know that if you're going to be running inside or outside. Should you be avoiding hills? So you've got a massive hill in your neighborhood. Are you going to do it or are you not going to do it? Hills are really a great way for you to improve your leg strength, and it's a great way to burn calories. We often do it for like high intensity training. When you run a hill, the key is you want to shorten your stride. Having a long stride is not going to help you go up that hill any faster. And you really want to use your arms in order to generate some motion. Going down a hill, you don't really want to give it your all because gravity is already helping you go in that motion. So you want to give it a little help by leaning slightly forward, and you don't have to give it your all. You can kind of let gravity help you along the way. The hill training is actually going to be incorporated in our 10K and half marathon groups. They won't be part of the Learn to Run program as it's really not going to be a necessity for you. The 10K and half marathon, it will be incorporated with, and we'll speak to you about how to do that when we get to that point in the schedule. So the homework is going to be divided up like this every week. On the left, you're going to see a Learn to Run program. That's for those of you who've never started running before. The goal with that is going to be running 5 kilometers at the end of the 10-week program. The middle column is a 10-kilometer area. So those are for the people who want to be able to run a 10-kilometer race or just go out for a nice hour run on the weekend. The one on the right is obviously the half marathon. This is for people who are already pretty comfortable running 8 to 10 kilometers, but looking to increase their mileage to do something around 21 kilometers a week. So this week, what the Learn to Run group is going to be doing is they're going to be walking for 2 minutes and running for 1 minute, and they're going to do it 10 times. So that's 30 minutes of total for running, and you're going to aim to try to do it 3 to 4 times a week, making sure that you leave a day in between the runs. So it's going to be a little bit more walking, a little bit of running, and we'll be able to see how you do with that. The 10-kilometer group is going to be doing 3 2 this week, 2 3-kilometer runs and 1 4-kilometer run. I don't want you to be doing runs back to back, so try to divide them up so there's a day in between the runs. What I mean by steady run is I want you to be able to have a steady pace. I want you to be able to breathe and talk. This isn't meant to be a full out race. It's not meant to be your fastest run ever. It's just meant to be a steady run where you keep the same pace for the entire 3 or 4 kilometers. The half marathon group is going to be doing a 6-kilometer run, a 7-kilometer run, a 4-kilometer run, and a 9-kilometer run. My preference would be that you keep them in that order because you don't want to be just going 4, 6, 7, 9. That doesn't make any sense. You want to have a little bit of a shorter run one day, a longer run another day, and that way you're going to be able to focus on different things like your technique, your speed, and just basically challenge yourself in different ways. So those again are all going to be steady runs. There are going to be things such as fartleks and hill training that are going to be coming into the program later for the 10-kilometer and half marathon group. And we will speak to those later on when we get to those different areas. If you have any questions during the week, this is my email. I'm always on it. I shouldn't be, but I am. I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Again, the key for us is really to start you off in a good way, to get you in a place where you're going to start to really enjoy running. And hopefully this can progress into something that you just do lifelong. Next week, Megan Grantham, our chiropodist, is going to be speaking with you. It's going to be a really great talk. She's our key foot person in the clinic. The thing that really excites me about this program is that every single person who's going to be coming in and speaking to you are people that just you don't generally have access to. Leslie is going to come in and speak to you about heart rate, and she's like our lead of cardiology at our clinic. We're going to have our dietitian come in, and she's amazing. You're going to love to hear about the types of nutrition that you need to be eating in order to make you a really good runner. We have Dan Stasiak, who's going to be coming in, and he does all our running assessments. He runs the Boston Marathon. He's that person who can just kind of bring you to another level. So I'm really excited overall about all of the different people you're going to have access to, and we're very excited to start this program. So with that, I would just ask if anyone has any questions. If not, I'm available for you during the week if you need me. And thank you very much for listening.